Last time we looked at Whitehead's saying that the ages of faith are the ages of rationalism. And then Iqbal goes on to say that, but to rationalize faith is not to admit the superiority of philosophy over religion. I've been asking these questions at various points in our discussion, but I want to raise it again. When Iqbal talks about relationship between philosophy and religion, we should always ask this question. So there's philosophy, and we have religion. But I think the most important question is, and just to use a phrase from McIntyre in a different context, we should ask which philosophy should all which rationality. Because even though philosophy and religion both make claims which are universal, but as claims, they are always made in a specific time and specific place. So both types of philosophies. So there are types of philosophies and there are types of religion. And as you know, I'm using this term religion very reluctantly, and I have to come back to that. But so universal claims. Both of them make universal claims, but they are universal as only as claims, meaning that we can always raise them anew in a different context. And also, we can always contest them, provide reasons for or against those claims. So in that sense, they are universal, but these claim in the sense that any claim as a claim is to be raised here and now. And as Habermas says, in that sense, all claims have Janus faced. Because on the one hand, they are raised here and now, so they are particular in that sense. But as claims, they make their claims as claims, they attract the attention of, or they make claim on, anyone, anytime, and at any place. So Janus faced in the sense that they are particular as well as universal at the same time. So the same with philosophy and religion. So yeah, philosophy and religion. So as a claim, they so first we should, which philosophy, which rationality. So that's their particularity as claim which are made here and now. And obviously this is not to deny that their universality as claim, because whether they are made today or they were raised 1,000 years ago, they still as claim make claim on us as to whether we want to accept it and reject it, and if we reject it, then why, and if we accept it, then why. So in that sense they are universal, but as claims, as particularities, as claim which must be raised here and now, a particular moment in time space, we always should ask which philosophy and which rationality. So just to go back, but to rationalize faith is not to admit the superiority. So rationalize faith, we just for the time being we said rationalize faith is either to use philosophy's tools or to use logical tools which theology shares with philosophy, is not to admit the superiority of philosophy over religion. So then this question of the superior, so if we are asking the question of which philosophy and which religion, the question of superiority of or inferiority of philosophy over religion is also a context dependent question. I think it doesn't make sense to talk about, at least not at the start, of philosophy's superiority over religion. Philosophy superiority over religion in an abstract manner, I guess, because this question of superiority is a very specific question which I suspect would hinge on would hinge on the nature of philosophy and the nature of religion. That's why I said it is a context-dependent question. Anyway, let's go back. But to rationalize faith is not to admit the superiority of philosophy over religion. But to rationalize philosophy is not to admit the superiority over religion. Why can we? I mean, just the fact that we can raise this question, just the very fact that we are raising this question, question of superiority of philosophy over religion, tells us that it is a very specific question, and a specific question which is related to modern times, or to modernity. So really what we are talking about is here, when we are raising the question of superiority of religion over philosophy over religion, we are talking in the context of modernity. And if we raise in that context, the question would make sense, modernity. So what happened in modern? Because you see, modernity, as we'll see, and would have an ample we would have many occasions to talk about it during our reading of these lectures, because they are about modernity. And the very question that these lectures were delivered, and they raised this question, that itself would not have been possible without the context of modernity, the context of colonization, the context of British imperialism in India, the British, their destruction of the local education systems, their destruction of and replacing them with a modern education system in which philosophy was part, and where Paul did MA in philosophy or BA in philosophy, I think, or BA in philosophy, English and history, I think, or Arabic. So this is the question of our modernity, and modernity, its relationship with philosophy as well as religion. So it is only in this context that we can ask this specific, not a general question of superiority or non-superiority of philosophy over religion, but in this specific sense in which he is asking this question, this question would not have been possible, or wouldn't make any sense without situating this question in the question of modernity. And it is only in the context of modernity that philosophy in this specific sense emerges in our societies, and religion in this specific sense emerges in our society. So and by our society I mean both our subcontinental society, in the context of which these lectures are being delivered, and also the British and North European society or Western society as a whole, in the context of which, so so both philosophy and religion, in these specific sense in which we are talking about them in these lectures, and Iqbal questions the sense as well, but also trapped in this sense as well. Both philosophy and religion that we are talking about in this sentence, in this paragraph, in these lectures, both philosophy and religion, they are the inventions of modernity. And in this sense, philosophy, what we are talking about, didn't exist. Not that this question of the superiority of philosophy over religion wasn't raised before, no. Well, Thomas Aquinas raised it, Ibn Rushd, or Averroes, Ibn Rushd raised it, Ghazali raised it, Aristotle and Plato raised it. But they were questioned in that related to that specific context. And their conception of philosophy and their conception of religion. But the philosophy we are talking about here and religion we are talking about, they are the invention of our modernity, and they wouldn't have existed without our modernity. So, and just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, is that before our modernity, and we would have to continue this into the next one, probably the one after as well. But when we are talking about Christianity, for example, in a specific context in which Christianity defines all these debates, Christianity, interaction between Christianity and modernity. Before modernity, and that's, I'll say my thesis anyway, I would have to defend it in a different context, but modernity, before modernity, in what modernity calls feudalism, Christianity existed as a civilization. Which encompasses everything. But today, due to modernity, today, now I'm talking about today, and Iqbal's time it was less so, but still it was there. But today, we have a Christian religion. But we don't have Christian civilization. We have a modern civilization. So, in feudalism, we had Christian civilization. In modernity, we don't have Christian civilization. We have Christian religion. And within this Christian civilization, there was a debate about the role of philosophy and theology and their relationship. For example, by Aquinas, for example, just to give an example. But for that was the relationship between natural dogmatic theology and philosophy as two specific subjects which were governed by and which were possible because of the existence of Christian civilization. So Christian civilization was transcendental, to use Kant's term, a transcendental condition of the existence of dogmatic theology, natural theology, and philosophy in that sense. And they were part of this Christian civilization. And within that civilization, there was the question of the relationship between dogmatic theology and natural theology and philosophy. And some people, gave one answer, and the other Christian theologians or Christian thinkers gave different answers. That's beside the point. But the main point is that this specific question of the relationship between dogmatic theology and philosophy was the question within a Christian civilization. And the Christian civilization, without Christian civilization, that question wasn't possible. So today, on the other hand, within modernity, we have Christian religion, no Christians. So that's civilization here. It's a modern civilization and philosophy. And these are both, modernity is the transcendental condition of the existence of Christian religion and philosophy. And the question we raise about the superiority over philosophy or over Christian religion is not the question of the relationship between. It's the question, a specific question of which is not possible without modernity, and the very question is defined by modernity. So the answer would be defined by modernity as well. Doesn't matter which answer you give. So from our perspective, the whole question is rather different. It's the question of the transcendence of this specific sense of modernity and making, the question of the possibility of a different type of civilization possible again. So, but to rationalize faith is not to admit the superiority of philosophy over religion. Philosophy, no doubt, has a jurisdiction over. So this whole question about to admit superiority of philosophy. So both philosophy and religion in this case have nothing to do with Christian or Islamic philosophy or religion, but they are the question which it is a question which is posed within modernity and sustained by it. So it is in the context of modernity that we should understand this question, and we will try to look at this further and next time in the context of in the light of the question of modernity. Thank you.